Welcome to IMD's Industry Insights. We'll be right back. Before we get started, I wanted to remind you to hit that like button. And also, if you want to subscribe to our podcast, hit that button down in the bottom right corner there, and that'll get you subscribed. We do appreciate you being here. Let's get started. Hello, we're back in New Orleans at the Rooted In Conference. I'm here with Raj. He's the Chief Marketing and Product Officer at Rootstock. Raj, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us exactly what your job is at Rootstock, and we'll get going.
Awesome, Brian. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Raj Badarinath. As you said, I'm responsible for all things marketing and all things product at Rootstock. This means everything from developing the brand of the company, demand generation, press and media and communications, all the way to defining the product roadmap, the product strategy, and hopefully running all the way to customer satisfaction.
If you could, give us your take on where manufacturing technology stands these days, and you've got a new product called Airs. Tell us how that fits into that tech, overall manufacturing tech.
Definitely. I think manufacturing is in a very interesting state right now, especially in this country, but also worldwide. So Brian, every year we run an annual survey of manufacturers. And what the survey attempts to do is to capture the state of manufacturing and, most importantly, trying to compare that with last year to see what has changed. So it gives us like a forward-looking bellwether of where this thing can go. And the things that are very interesting right now, especially in our world, is most manufacturers are realizing that there is a significant need for digital transformation in their business. I have worked for almost 25 years in various verticals, right? Everything from financial services and telecom to retail and distribution to manufacturing. And I have to say, manufacturing is the most conservative industry that there is. Why? Because, I'd like to say manufacturers like to marry for life.
They're very risk averse.
They're risk averse. I'd like to say that as they're very thoughtful
Yes.
in what they make their investments in, because they don't have the dollars to continually spend and rip and replace and so on. For example, retail is an industry where I know that they will not hesitate to A/B test out another vendor like literally every year if they have to, right? But manufacturers tend to be very thoughtful in who they select, and they want that to last. So most of the last wave of selection that happened was unfortunately over at least a decade ago, in some cases at least 20 years ago. What I'm telling you is most manufacturers in this country have not updated their core operating business like ERP in 20 years, in this century. So the last time they really purchased something of this magnitude was when the kid was born, and now the kid is graduating college. So what we saw in the survey was a significant indication that the world has changed so dramatically, especially after the pandemic, that all the systems that I had in place were piecemeal, and all the band-aids and duct tape that they've put to hold the systems together are falling apart. Mm-hmm. So they're all getting ready to change, and they're all looking for direction on how do you make the change, what's the right approach for it, and so on. And at the same time, there's the macro. There's such a significant investment in government right now to reshape and remake supply chains in this country, right? I don't think the US government ever wants to be held hostage to suppliers, particularly in China and so on. And so there's a significant amount, I'm talking in the billions of dollars, right, going to areas like renewables and chip manufacturing and so on. So in a sense, what's happening is manufacturing is coming back to the US But this is not your grandfather's manufacturing, right? It's not the classic assembly line manufacturing. It's extremely modern, it's high tech, it's almost like a software job that's actually coming back, but in a very different light. So, what we saw was the next 5 years is going to be super instrumental in the industry itself going through a tremendous transformation, both in kind of the workforce, in kind of the systems that they're going to choose, and so on. But change is here for this industry, and they have to accept it.
Your AIRS product, how is that fitting in with that future?
AIRS stands for AI from Rootstock. We kept it very simple. What AIRS is really trying to do is to define what we are calling AI that matters. There's a lot of hype in AI. I mean, you can walk on the street right now without somebody talking about AI in some ways, right? Especially driven from the Chat GPT boom that recently ended up happening.
The Gemini debacle.
Exactly, the Gemini debacle, and it's all the interest, right? Every new technology goes through this, and if you remember, back in the day there was a fight between AC and DC. Thomas Edison was one side and Tesla on the other side. Funnily enough, Tesla was for alternating current, and Thomas Edison was DC current, direct current, right? And in order to prove how deadly AC current was, Edison had set up these stalls in New York in the middle of the city, and he would electrocute horses live to prove that DC was a safer form of current.
Wow.
So you can see what lengths people are going to go to create a spectacle of this. And every time there's a brand new technology, we will see that fight. So Gemini is like an example of something like that, right? Where, oh my God, it's completely wrong and completely. The truth is much more nuanced, and technology has its fits and starts, and we will get this right. But back to your question, right? In manufacturing, how do we create things that matter so we are not getting carried away by the hype ourselves? So we made it super practical, and we said, look, it really boils down to two big buckets of AI. There's predictive AI, there's generative AI. Predictive AI simply means that given all the data that you have, historical data, the AI will learn from it and make a reasonable guess, a probabilistic assessment to say, this is what's going to happen. An example is cash flow forecasting. Let's say you have 100 customers, and 95 of them always pay on time. 100% of the time, they're within the terms that they've been given. But there's 5 customers who don't pay on time, and over time you have a trend that says, yeah, these 5 guys are unlikely to pay, but you also know when they are likely to pay or if they're likely to pay. So when you train a machine to learn those patterns, it's similar to having a person who's doing the job for years and years. And so intuitively, by looking at the name of the customer and their history, they're like, I know this guy, I don't think he's going to pay in 30 days, it's going to take him 60. So cash flow forecasting is super critical for most businesses, right? Especially now. And we have created a model that lets you predict when can you expect the dollars from this particular customer. And when you aggregate that across all the 100 customers, you get a sense of what's going to be in your bank. Mm-hmm. So that's a simple example of predictive AI, but it's super critical to how manufacturers run their business. The same thing goes for generative AI. Generative AI is about text. It's unstructured data. So we have combined some key use cases from predictive, some key use cases from generative, and we're calling that AIRS. So the whole idea is that, look, if you're a manufacturer, you don't have to build things from scratch. You don't have to go to Salesforce platform with Einstein 1 and start building from scratch because you have a business to run. Your core competence is not software. Your core competence is in building, parts and machinery and assemblies and sub-assemblies and all that. We want you to do that. Let Rootstock handle what you need for running your business from us. And we're going to deliver that in a product solution called AIRS.
Cool. Sounds very exciting.
It really is.
So what is the general product roadmap for Rootstock? I mean, with AIRS and everything else, where do you see it heading?
Yeah, the product roadmap is a dynamic snapshot in time. Mm-hmm. The reason I say that is we get a lot of great feedback and inputs from our customer base. So for example, We have something called the root group, which is a user group. These customers are, first of all, they're super involved and super vocal in terms of what they need from Rootstock. And we listen to them, we listen to a customer advisory board who frankly gets to vote on the top 3 features that they'd like to see. All of these are inputs that goes into the product roadmap. The product roadmap will have 4 different streams. There's a manufacturing stream where we're continually making investment in manufacturing focus features, especially the operations teams. Mm-hmm. There's a financial stream which is focused on improving our financials product, right? And a lot of the AI, cash flow forecasting, etc., the AIRS bit is going to apply to forecasting and in financials. There is the AI and analytics layer, which is overall the technology investments that we're doing to create newer models over time. And of course, we're going to be focused on exposing technology, product quality, and so on, which is to ensure that the latest and greatest from Salesforce is always available to manufacturing customers.
Cool. Tell us where you learned your dance moves.
I sort of knew that was coming. Honestly, it was, we became empty nesters a few years ago. Uh-huh. So my wife has always been a lifelong dancer, and she's taught dance, and she's been in Bollywood dancing and so on. And we just found that we needed an activity we want to do together. And so I started to go with her every weekend, and that's when my love of dance started. Now, I'm not saying I'm any good at it.
Well, but you were pretty impressive last night.
So you realize, Brian, I can't fire anyone now, so because everybody has that now. But I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for being with us.
A pleasure, Brian. Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.